is the Victory Moment with CK. Join the show as we chat victory in the midst of the uncertainty in life, because each day can be a victory moment if you don't quit, if you don't give up, and if you don't let go. Well, hello and good. Welcome to the Victory Moment with CK. And whenever you may be watching it and however you may be watching it, I'm excited today because I have a special guest today. And it is, I am just again excited about what's about to transpire today. And I have Dr. Carol Stevens, a clinical technician, but most importantly, she is the CEO of the BHC Media Network. So I'm excited to have her as we share more about talk about the BHC network in the midst of what we're going to talk about. But we want to talk about, this still is the month of what we will call love. And we've been talking about legacy and acknowledging and talking about Black history. Black history. And I'm just excited because today we're going to talk about mental health wellness when it comes to relationship and love. And I think any of us would want to really know how to be healthy in love, in a relationship. And it's not just about a man and a woman, and it's so many other types of relationships, and it's about mental health wellness. And we know that has a special month and all of that, but as we talk about love, we just connected it because there's so many struggles sometimes when you love someone, and how to really stay mentally okay. So we are excited to talk about that today, and my guest is about to come on. Welcome again to the Victory Moment with CK with my special guest, Dr. CAROLYN Stevens. Dr. CAROLYN Stevens. Well, Dr. CAROLYN Stevens is right next to me, and she's going to share more about who she is. We are excited to bring what we're going to bring to you today. So welcome again, Dr. CAROLYN Stevens. I'm excited, as how we connect and all that's going on in the next level of the BHC network. We are excited about it and the things that are going to transpire in 2024. So she's going to again introduce yourself, share with the people what you want them to actually understand and know about you.
Well, first of all, Elder Carmen, thank you from my whole heart. Thank you for having me to be a guest here on your show, the Victory Moment. I'm absolutely excited. I've been thinking about coming on your stage all day long and preparing and just asking God what he would have me to say to everybody. So I want to welcome each of you that are watching the live, those of you who will have an opportunity to watch the replay. I'm sending you lots of love and a welcome, and thank you for tuning in and watching. And by all means, feel free to engage, put your questions, whatever comments you have. Even if you're watching the replay, feel free to put questions, feel free to put comments and what have you. And we'll do our best to make sure that we can answer those questions for you. Um, so Carmen did an excellent job of introducing me. And I think I don't know if she's gone and leave me, but don't leave me, Elder Carmen. Whatever you do, don't leave me. But my name is Dr. Carolyn Stevens, and most people know me because I am a clinical family therapist. I would say that 70% of my clientele are women. And then I have a small percentage. I started last year doing therapy with children and with teens. And so I absolutely adore my position as a therapist. I believe that it is one of the things that God has called me to do, to be a vessel or an instrument of people's health and well being, especially in the area of mental health. I am also the CEO of the BHC Media Network. We stream to Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, to millions and millions of people on a regular basis. Elder Carmen happens to be one of our show owners on the network. It's a 24/7 network, so you can go up on our app. You can watch on your TV, on Roku. You can even be on your laptop or any other devices and watch her show there, along with the other wonderful shows that we do have and awesome content creators that we have. So that's a little bit about me. And so again, thank you, Elder, for allowing me to be here with your guest. And I'm super excited about our subject matter.
Oh, I am definitely excited about our subject matter because I think in this time and season, as you watch so many things happening, I think it's a necessary. I think it's a necessary. I think it is important. I think it's something that needs to be discussed. And I like how we came together and collabed about it. And I was like, I was excited about, yeah, let's talk about mental health wellness and love, because again, love has been highlighted this month as Valentine's, and so many other things, I mean, and so is Black History. And I've been talking about a lot about love in what I've been doing. And because so many things can be dealt with differently if we really understand how to love one another, even in the midst of not knowing, and mental wellness steams a lot on love and how we handle one another. So
Mm,
I'm already started because I'm getting hyped about what we're going to discuss. But I want to say this real quickly, and then we're going to get into our first question, which is what is the importance of mental health wellness as it connects to love and relationship? And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I want to I want to talk about health, healthy relationships involve honesty, trust, respect, and open communication between partners and between individuals. And I just want to just highlight that because that's where it begins. It has to have a healthy communication. But what are as I think about, the importance of mental health wellness when it comes to relationship, and then I'm going to let you flow into your thoughts as, as a person that deals with so much of certain things when it comes to relationships, mental health, wellness, and so forth. Um, I want to say that again, the communication and interaction with the other person is a priority.
oh, yeah,
Is a priority. And when we realize, that communication, no matter how it may be uncomfortable, it's a must. So what
definitely.
is your take on your thoughts on that at this point? Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, first, let me start off by saying that I thank you for tackling this subject matter, mental health and relationships. Um, as much as possible, many of us need to, on some level, be talking about mental health and wellness. We need to talk about mental illness. I have a colleague that would often say, lots of times we may talk about mental health, but we don't talk about mental illness. And so, talking about mental illness is still stigmatized. And so we have to continue to have these kinds of conversations that we're having today, Carmen, so that we can destigmatize um, conversating and talking about and communicating when it comes to mental illness. Okay, it's okay to not be okay. I'll start there. So kind of want to go back to your question because I know we have a couple of things we want to cover. um, so repeat your question again, Elder, so that I can make sure that I'm addressing that question a lot because I could talk about mental health
You're
all day.
talking about the importance of mental health wellness when it connects in connection with our relationships and love.
Okay, great. So I wanted
Mhm.
to make sure that we had that question right, the importance of it. So let me start here and then kind of go and hit the question. So tonight, when we talk about relationships, I thought about this earlier today, Elder Carmen. It's very important, and I think it's profound for me to say that as we talk about anything pertaining to relationships, whether it's a romantic relationship, it's friends, it's family, any kinds of workplace relationships, in order for us to develop healthy relationships meaning relationships that are reciprocated. Um, Oftentimes, we may say, I'm her friend, but is she your friend? Okay. So
Mm.
a healthy relationship is based on reciprocation. It means that there's a give and take. I give, I receive, you give. And when we have a healthy amount of that, that's what contributes to a relationship being healthy. So, in order to have any kind of healthy relationship, we must first have the most important, I'm going to say two, the most important two relationships that we need to really work on fostering is one, our relationship with God. Our relationship, a healthy relationship with God, is going to predicate, or it's the premise for every relationship that we have. And the second one, which is I think we'll be talking more about that tonight, is the relationship you have with yourself. That's going to be really
Mm.
having a healthy relationship with yourself. Because Elder Carmen, I often say people can't give you what they don't have. And I'll just let that sink in for a moment for the viewers. People can't give you what they don't have. If people have a lot of toxicity, they can't give you anything healthy. They're going to give you what they have, which is toxic. Okay. If you're an individual that is intentional, I'll raise my hand because I'm one of those people. If you're an individual that's intentional about working on yourself every single day, I'm working on myself. I'm diligent about my personal growth and development. I'm not doing it for anybody. I'm working on me. Then you're going to be a better candidate for a relationship. Because oftentimes relationships fail because of what we're bringing into a relationship. So when I wanted to say that to start us off, and when we talk about mental health and relationships, that is a big one. Elder Carmen, you may need to have another show when it comes to that because honestly,
It's major. It's
it's
major.
major. Because
It's
let me
major.
just say something real basic. We'll talk about romantic relationships, or you know, lots of times when we are in those kinds of relationships, we don't realize until 2 3 years later that person had some mental health issues. Okay. And then when we identify that, then we can start to say, oh, I see where a lot of our problems came from, because there were a lot of problems internally. And it's good to admit that about yourself. I see why I wasn't a good girlfriend or a good fiance or a good wife, because I came to the relationship with lots and lots and lots, maybe, of issues, internal issues
and
that
and,
I
and, and
had prior to meeting that person. And
not
I
not
just
meaning to cut you, but
mm,
it's called baggage. And until you acknowledge that you have the baggage or the issue, every time you get into a relationship, whether it doesn't, whether it be romantic or just a friend relationship, you're going to find you're going to have a struggle. And whether it's trust issues, whether it's he does it the same way the other one did it, or he's going to do it the same way the other one did it. But because you have to give yourself that healing space to understand that that person is not that person. I always have an issue when I hear women say, and even men say it too on the woman's side, that all women. No.
okay, okay,
Because we're unique. We all have different, we have a makeup because we're women and men. But then there's a uniqueness in what we bring to the table. Cause that's why they always make this joke that two women can't actually live together, because the way you may do something may not be the same way that I do it. It doesn't mean you're wrong, but what it means is we're respecting each other in how we do it. Like there's
understand.
certain things I'm definitely not doing. You understand? And then there's some women that will do certain things. But that's them. But again, it comes back to what you were saying. Their prior history. And I mean, right on one of the shows, the girl said I needed money because they were like, why did you do this viral video doing some dance or whatever? She said I needed money. There's no other way that you could have got money outside of just showing. But again, that's her mentality. And
Exactly,
you don't know how she was raised.
exactly,
So
exactly.
that's what we have to be careful. So not cutting you, I mean, I'm understanding these are the things that make up that importance of understanding mental wellness. And like you said, a lot of times we bring that right into all of our all of our relationship,
Sure.
and that's an issue because the
Yeah.
negativity, if someone spoke to you negative, you automatically feel that that person is, somebody else is gonna treat you the same way. So you automatically start up the relationship or friendship like OMG, right. And
Wow.
welcome, I see those coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the broadcast, and we thank you for joining us. So as you were completing, not meaning to cut you,
No, this is great. This is great. This is
Dr.
great.
Kelly.
This is great. Well, I like was something that you said about
Right.
people
So
bringing baggage into. That's what you said. People bringing baggage into the relationship. On another talk show I was on, somebody asked me, "Well, is it possible that a person could not bring any baggage?" Honestly, I don't believe that. I think that we all bring. Now, some people just may have a tote bag, and then some people bring a whole set of designer luggage. You know, but we all have some level of baggage. Um, but as much as you've taken time to work on yourself and work through it, you're not bringing that much baggage. And the reason why I say we have baggage is because we've lived lives before we met this person. We've had life experiences before we met this person. So it's pretty much going to be impossible to say I'm baggage free, but it's pretty cool if you can just say, well, I only got a tote bag. Okay. It's okay. Like I said, if you come in with like a designer set of luggage, you know, like an eight piece designer set of luggage. Well, and honestly, when we talk about mental health in correlation to relationships, because that's where we're going tonight, um, it's important to, and I don't want to get ahead because Elder, you may want to ask me that question. So let me stop here and see what questions you want to ask me so I can give that to the room. 'Cause I'm getting
And we're
excited.
going to talk about the next thing we're going to talk about as we proceed is we're going to talk about, some ways that mental health wellness impact relationship and love. And we started talking about it. One of the
Mhm.
ways is what we just were talking about it is it sometimes bring what we would call a stress, and I say that not in a negative perspective, but sometimes because we haven't dealt with the things that we need to deal with, and the most important thing we need to deal with is ourselves.
Well,
And
that
because
may be
you
true.
can't deal with somebody else if you can't even deal with yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. Well,
So
you
what?
know,
Go ahead, ma'am.
mental health issues will definitely affect relationships, whether that's um, personal relationships, romantic relationships, even workplace relationships.
I
There
was
are
beginning to
people,
say that
yeah,
exactly.
because there are people who can't sustain a job, not because it's the job, it's because of their own mental health issues that sometimes they have lots of problems. Like, for example, I just one diagnosis that comes to mind. We call it ODD for short. It's oppositional defiant behavior disorder. I'm sorry. So that basically means, in layman's term, you're just a rebellious person. Because when you have that diagnosis, and everywhere you go, you're rebelling against everybody and everything and all rules and regulations. Lots of the children I work with have ODD. They have oppositional defiance, but there are adults that are defiant as well. So that actually is a diagnosis, a clinical diagnosis. Um, in a relationship, then you can have things like if you're dealing with mental health issues, and Elder Carmen, I'm gonna take you back and to kind of a simple one that I think a lot of ladies could relate to, and I'll share it. So, but before I do, so in a relationship, if you have mental health issues, it could cause you to be lethargic. So let's just say if you have a sex partner and maybe you're well, let's say it how people would say it. Maybe she or he is lazy when it comes to sex, but that could
Mm.
be due to a mental health issue. It's not just necessarily that they're not trying to perform. It could be an inability to perform at optimum level because of their mental health issues. They could also become unempathetic, meaning that lots of times when people have mental health issues, they're in relationships and their partners will say, "It seems like she doesn't care," or "He just acts
Right,
like
you
he
hear
doesn't care."
that.
But
Correct. You
but
hear that.
but they have
Right.
many times when you have mental health issues, you learn how to cope with your issues by not caring or giving off the appearance that you don't care. And so
And it doesn't
sometimes,
bother you. Right. Oh, that
right.
don't bother me. And you let the person do whatever they want to do. The person that you're connecting to or in the relationship, you let them do whatever they want to do. And there's no accountability. We call it accountability.
And
You
they
know
and
what
it's
I
hard
mean?
to give a person like that accountability, because what I'd like for the viewers to understand, that is a person that's not intentionally doing that because they have mental
Right.
health issues.
Intentional.
Okay, they
Right.
have mental health issues and they've built up coping mechanisms that sometimes it will appear as if though they don't care. That's part of their mental health issue. Okay, or they may be a
Correct.
person that may say, how many times have we heard people say, "Oh my God, she's so rough." When you ask her something, she's so rough, or he just doesn't know how to talk to me.
The
He's a, but
response,
it
right?
it
The response
possibly
or how they
exactly
how they connect or handle situations, really like really responding instead of really looking at everything before and not responding, and but not reacting, but taking time to assess,
Well, you got to
and
remember, people who have mental health issues, they have issues with processing. You
what
see, in their
process.
head, they have issues processing. So, Carmen, if I told you a problem that I was having, you may be able to process it quick. But if you had mental health issues, it may take you a while to process what I'm saying. You see? So most people aren't going to admit, listen, I don't really understand. I'm not comprehending. Could you give me a while? Could you say it another way?
I need
They're
you
not
to
going to
say
do
that
that.
again. Most people do not admit it.
No, no, most people. I
Finish
mean,
saying what you're
you think
saying.
so.
Mhm.
Think about it. I'm an adult. I know I have mental health issues, right? People have told me. I've heard that I have it, and let's say I'm a person that has identified I have these issues, and your partner's talking to you, and you're listening, but you're not comprehending or processing what they're saying. Most people are not going to be honest enough to say, you know what, I really am not comprehending what you're saying. It may take me a while. I don't. So, which is going to lead me to my next point. If you're in a relationship with somebody who has mental health issues, you have to be very patient because they process different. They're not going to think maybe as quickly. But we're talking about diagnosed or clinical mental health issues. I'll give you one, Elder Carmen. So I had a very good friend. We were not dating; we were just very good friends and colleagues. And
Mhm.
because we used to talk a lot, I told him one day. I said, "You know what? I want to share something with you about myself." I said, "So there's going to be some times that my behavior might seem a little erratic and I may be a little bit more stressed than normal." I said, "Because I'm going through the change." And he
Okay.
was like, "Oh, okay." So, my point in saying that is that when you have a partner and you have some mental health issues or issues, period, once you identify them, you got to be honest with yourself and be honest with that person. Because especially if you have mental health issues, that person is going to be your life partner on your journey, or that could be your family or your co-workers or whoever you're partnering with. You need to be honest and tell people, listen, I want to have a talk with you. I have these issues,
That's
A, B, C,
exactly.
D. And you may see me do something. Like I told my friend, my stress level at that time, I was getting to the end of the change. And if y'all don't know what I mean by the change, I'm talking about menopause.
Yes.
And trust me,
Yes,
if you're going
ma'am.
through menopause, tell your partner, tell them, because they're going to see.
It's a lot to that.
It's
It's a
they're
lot
going to
to
see
that.
you go through a lot, and
Lot.
you've got to really
Mm.
explain that to somebody that you care about, because guess what?
'Cause they're not gonna understand.
They won't understand. They're just
They
going
will
to say
not
that lady
understand.
is crazy.
Correct.
Okay. But if you
Correct.
explain and then invite them to be a part of your journey. So let's say you have a mental health diagnosis and you're honest with your partner about it, or someone who let's say it's a person that you want to be your partner.
Mhm.
Maybe this is a potential person. People have asked me, if you're dating, should you tell people that you have mental health issues? At some point, yes. At some point,
And
yes.
and and that comes back to what I was sharing at the beginning, because I did my own researching, because I know I am not a doctor in it as a doctor in what you do, as no, a doctor in that level as you are. And when I did my own research, one of the main things, and you just said it again, is that communication.
Yes.
You have to communicate with the person that you are in relation with. And
Yes.
a lot of times we destroy it because it's like pride, a lot of
That
pride.
is right.
Sometimes, like you said, we don't even know how to do it because we're not used to doing it, and we just let everything go and don't say anything, and then the person doesn't even realize that something is bothering you, but you just blowing up, you just going off, and the person is like, what the heck?
Mhm.
What is going
Well,
on?
sometimes, Carmen, people don't divulge that information because they're afraid of being rejected. So
Right. And I was getting right.
if I
And
have a
I'm glad you
diagnosis,
said that
yeah,
because
they're
that
afraid of
goes
being
right into the
rejected.
question I just asked. In reference to, again, that goes right into the question that I just asked. And when it comes to some ways basically that wellness impacts, and you just said it. One of the
Mhm.
ways is the person doesn't even know how to really communicate that, saying, hey, this is bothering me, or once again, it's overwhelming me, and so forth, you know um and that's important to understanding, and I remember I took a brief class when I was in college in reference to, when it comes to, like, how would they say, dealing with yourself,
Okay.
and it's all about that self care, that impression, and and so forth. So that's what that's about. So it's about how, it begins with you. That's what I'm going to say. But I know you have something else, and then we're going to get to that other question, that
Well, go
other
ahead. No,
question.
please ask your question by all
you
means. And
know
hello,
um
Denise. Nice meeting you too.
but I like how you're flowing with, understanding and communicating, understanding and communicating. And that is so important. Again, we welcome everyone that's coming in, whether it's on the BAC network. We thank you for joining us, whether it's on the live on Facebook, the on my YouTube channels or our channels. We appreciate you and thank you for joining us. We're going to respond to all the information that, once we get off of the show, we're going to respond to all of the love and support. Thank you so much. So yeah, so the final question I was that just came to thought, because I think this is an important question.
Okay.
um Maintaining your mental health wellness in the midst of a relationship, in the midst of love. We call it love.
Sure. Sure.
what
Sure.
what how what thoughts would you give to someone in the midst of it? We talked about communication. We talked about telling someone. Um One of the things, when I did my research and so forth in preparing for this show, um get the help that you need. If you need help, acknowledge that you need help, and
That's
go
right.
to someone like you that's a therapist that can assist you. Go, find out what you actually need, and then proceed in getting that need met.
Very good.
That's one of my major thoughts right now.
That's
And
very
I think it's a highlight. What are your thoughts
well. I'm always going to
as
start
far as
here. Oh, sorry. Okay.
maintaining, right?
Maintain.
Maintaining
Well,
that, yeah, that
so
mental health in the midst of it.
well, I'm always going to start here. I know, and we've said it, but I definitely want to repeat it.
You're going to
Um,
reiterate it.
yes. So every person, when you're alone, when you're alone and nobody's looking, um, At the very core, you know when something inside is wrong or not working well. You know that. You may not know the name of it. You may not know the clinical name for it, but you know based on experiences you've had, interactions you've had, um, things that didn't work, that there is something that's 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 not working right, that's not right. So I'm going to start off by saying and reiterating, as Elder Carmen said, when you identify, because this is, I can't even, a person like me, I can't even help a person until they do this. When you identify that something is wrong in the area of your mental health, and when you identify it, then of course you may go see someone, a doctor, you may talk to someone. But once you identify it and you say, okay, I have this issue, but it's okay, because it's okay to not be okay. And we've got to keep telling people that it's okay to not be okay, because there are many of us that have PTSD. I mean, if you've been through a whole lot of trauma in your life, sure you're going to have PTSD to some degree. So once you identify something is wrong, once you accept it, and then the next thing, and I think Elder Carmen preluded to this, go get help. Help can come in many different forms. It can be going to a person like myself, a mental health professional. It could be a designated support person. It could be your pastor, your spiritual leader, whatever you designate and help. But go get help, an individual or individuals that are going to help you on your journey to living a life with great mental health and well-being. Okay, so go get help. Now you're going along in life and you meet this special somebody, right? And you start saying, okay, I think this is somebody that I could possibly see living life with as a life partner. We're getting serious. I'm going to be honest. So the next thing, be honest with that person. Okay, be honest with that person. And as you're being honest with that person, give that person an opportunity to embrace what you have told them. And listen,
Mm.
it's okay if the person has some challenges receiving it at first, because they may have never had that experience of dealing with someone who has mental health issues. Give them a chance and give yourself a chance. Okay, and then be honest with them, and also give them a visual of what your life looks like. So for example, if you have clinical depression, then you're telling the person, so every month I go through this and this, or this is what I do, or sometimes I don't like going out much. You just have to tell that person, because of your mental health issues, what does your life look like, and give that person an opportunity to accept it. It may take a minute to accept it. And then the last one, if there's somebody that loves you, which you are lovable, we are all lovable with all of our issues that we have, because guess what? We all got some. Okay. Um, then, because sometimes you could have issues, and I say that, Elder Carmen, because you can have issues and tell yourself that nobody's going to love me like this. Yes, somebody is going to love you just the way you are, and you have to give yourself a
Especially,
chance.
and I'm just going to interject, especially with all this social media hype, when you look at pictures and things, and you may not feel as pretty as that person. They may be a two, and things like that. And what I tell people all the time, and I share this on my show all the time, that's a picture. Until you see that person, person physically, you really don't know what you're dealing with, you know um because there's so many things that you can do with photos now. There's a lot. a lot of what we will call ad libbing with photos, things, and we have to be careful of how we perceive ourselves from other people and from other things that we see. And I think that's another good perspective of when it comes to mental health and relationship, because a person is everybody is not going to be a two. Everybody is not going to be a eight. Everybody, and I'm not um downsizing anyone that takes care of their body and stuff like that. I'm not doing that. But I'm just letting other people be aware, because that is part of the mental wellness of how we handle ourselves, and how we think about ourselves. We can't allow what other people say so much to affect how we feel about ourselves. That doesn't take away from you telling me, Carmen, you need to stop eating that burger, or you need to. No, that doesn't take away from that. But it's the perspective, and what is the real intent, and these are the things, and I just had to interject because what you were saying
I
was
like your
so,
point, and I like the way that
that was
I
so
like what you
powerful.
likened it. I like what you likened it to. Um, and the thing about it is that when it comes to mental health, nobody can know what's in your head or what's going on with you unless you communicate it. And what I'm suggesting is that believe that you will have a person, um, that God will send you a person that will be your safe space. It will
And
happen.
basically love
It
you
can
for
happen.
you,
And just love you
and
for you.
for
And you're
you.
just a person that comes with, you've got some bumps and scratches and
Scratch is
things
just
like
like
that.
any normal person.
Right. But it
I
is
have
important
scars
that
from
you tell that
falling.
person.
They can't go away. I
Sure.
fell.
Sure. But it is important to be honest about it, because
About
if you're
it.
not honest, their person is going to end up seeing it anyway. So if you've had some pre-trauma in your life, that should be an individual that you trust enough to be a safe space to sit down and be able to tell them, I want to talk to you about what has happened to
Happened,
me.
right.
It happened to me.
Okay.
And because if they're not going to be a safe space, do they really need to be your friend, or especially do they really need to be your life partner if they're not a safe space? um is that not, if that's a person that you can't confide in to talk about your mental health, your physical health, um then you have to start wondering, is that going to be a person that that you want in your life to take a life journey with? Because if your mental health issues are something that you deal with, then now let me make sure I balance this out.
Right.
I'm not
Mhm.
talking about having, you know, you have some mental health issues
Right.
and
The
you're
real
not
mental
taking,
health is right,
and
right.
you're not
Mhm.
taking care of yourself, and then you expect, you meet a person and now you expect them to put up with everything you got going on, and you're not helping yourself.
All,
I'm definitely not saying that.
all the extra. I call it extra. All
Yeah, and
the
that's the
extra.
extra, when that's the baggage that
Right,
we're talking about. I'm
right.
talking about once you have gotten a healthy perspective on your own mental health level where you are, you can tell the person, listen, I'm in therapy now. As a matter of fact, sometimes I'd like for you to come go with me. So that you're telling that person, I'm also being proactive and I'm doing something to take care of myself and with the issues that I have.
And as we're about to close out, can I interject and say this? Um, don't rush and share everything, because first understand where you're at with this person, because like you said, it's going to take time for this person, and depending on the relationship and the level, to accept. And I'm not even going to go any
Exactly.
further. I'm just going to say to accept. So as we are closing out, you know, mental wellness is real, and we need to, and we talking about taking care of yourself so that you can be in a healthy relationship, getting
Mhm.
the help that you need, speaking to the right people, you know. And I'm gonna get a little personal in the sense of when my brother passed away, and I sent you a message, you were able to send me the right response for me to know how to proceed. And I'm not one of your clients, you know, but in reference to as far as, you know, that part in those session stuff, you know,
I get you.
but
I get you.
I felt your knowledge because, you know, in other words, taking time, understanding that it's a process, understanding that there are going to be good days. There are going to be days that you're going to feel the pressure. There's no way you
Absolutely.
could be talking to someone every day and you don't miss them once they're gone.
Of
You
course.
understand that there was a
Of course.
balance, you know, and the person wasn't like everything you did was right. No, they let you know. You were able to tell them and be real with them. And that's very few that you could do that with, because
Sure.
people immediately have a judgment. And you know, as we close out, I just wanted to share that because, like I said, it wasn't just about me being a part of the BAC network. You understood where I was because of what you do. And then you immediately your clinical, you know, experience and so forth just said, "Hey, this is what I'm going to say to you." You know, because you know, you understood and you went through it on your own. It can't be, it's not going to be
Absolutely.
easy. It's not going to, you don't tell somebody don't cry. No, you know, because there's something emotional going on. You know, even when someone gets a divorce, they say it's like losing someone. So you have to be
Absolutely.
careful, right, of how you communicate to that person.
Absolutely.
Right. And it's a lot to it, especially if you've been together for a long period of time. That's why you need to give yourself time to do whatever needs to get done to get that healing process. You know, it's not so much, oh, forgive, 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 because we know we talk about that a lot. It's
Yeah.
more than just forgiving, you know, and like you said, it begins with that relationship with God. As we end off, it begins with that relationship with God. You know, it changes things, it makes things better, it makes you see things clearer, you know. So as we're ending off, I don't know what last, you know, information or thought you want to share, and then we're going to close out this broadcast. I continue to thank everyone that took time to come and join
Absolutely.
us, and we're hoping and we're praying that someone got something out of it, because love is real, but love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not puff up itself. And when you're in a relationship, I think everyone needs to understand that concept. And then, you know, in all this world struggle and fight, and we understand certain things and understand being patient, understand even when you're going through something, understand when even the person doesn't act seemingly, that you don't just throw things away, but you take time to say, hey, let's talk. Hey, what's really going on
Yeah.
from the surface?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are your
That's really
thoughts as
good.
we close out, sis?
Well, first, I want to say thank you to you. Um, and I want to encourage people to go on the BAC network. Um, you can download the BAC app, and then you get to see lots of Elder Carmen in the victory moment. And so I want to encourage people to do that. Um, if you yourself, you have a small business and you're looking to advertise, you can advertise on Carmen's channel. Give her a call and say, "Hey, I got a business. I want all those millions of people to see my business, contact her and let her know that you're interested in advertising on her channel, and we can make that happen. She can make that happen. So call her and do that. If you're interested in being a part of her show, like I am here today, um, give her a call and
In,
say, hey, I saw you and
mhm.
Dr. Carolyn, and I'd like to be in that seat one day. And I could tell you she'll be very open to having you come and be a guest. So there's lots of opportunities. So I want to say that. And I'm here today because I support all my content creators. And if they tell me to come, I'm going to be there. And that's one of the things that we do with BAC is we operate as a community and we support each other. And so that's why I'm here today, because I absolutely love, love, love Elder Carmen. And so she asked me to come and I was going to be here. Okay. I just want to leave you with this, that we have all been through something in our lives, and we don't have to be ashamed of it because we've all been through something. I mean, you're looking at a person who is a clinical therapist, but I also at one time was a victim of domestic violence. I have been a victim of rape. Um, and so, but here I am, you see, and with the help and the love and support of people around me, and having great people in my life, and taking the effort to do the work and wanting to be healthy and whole. Now I'm in the position now where I get to help people who've gone through the things that I've been through in my life. And so, and if you want love in your life, you want a relationship, there is a person out there especially designed for you. Take your time, as Elder said. Don't rush it. You will find your person that will be your safe space, someone that will love and embrace all of you with all of your issues and idiosyncrasies. And so, thank you so much for listening to me. I like to share my website if any of you feel that you'd like to contact me for a consultation. Maybe you just want to talk, or maybe you have a friend that wants to talk about your own mental health and wellness. You can go to www.drcarolynstevens.com. That's www.drcarolyn stevens.com. And so reach out to me. If you find me on Facebook, you can send me a message. I'm very open, and say, hey, I saw you on the show and I'd like to talk to you. And I would like to talk to you. Okay. Because it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And we got to take care of all of us, especially our mental health and wellness. So I end this by sending you lots of peace, lots of love, and lots of joy. And come on, let's get well and be well and stay well together. Let's take the journey together. Thank you again, Elder Carmen, for having me. It's been an honor and a privilege.
And I think that that is a perfect ending. Let's stay well, let's be well, and let's keep love, let's keep love at the forefront, because it changes everything. So we thank you again as you connected with us, and as she shared all the information, and she's going to also share and put her links below in all of in what we do. She already, if you want to look her up, she's Dr. Carolyn Stevens, and I'm sure if you Google her, you'll find all her information too. She does what she does well. If you download the BHC network, you will see everything that we do. So take care as we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Victory Moment with CK.